world of customer experience that I see great intentions in the industry, but very often you feel that there's like average to low execution. The customer doesn't always feel the great intentions. And you see this in multiple industries, but look at this. United Airlines, their slogan is "Fly the friendly skies." Remember that slogan for a second. Now I'm going to show you what that slogan can feel like when they have an average day in the office. Like this gentleman is sitting on the wrong seat of the plane, and in the friendly smile kind of way, they ask that person to go to the other seat. So you feel that there's a little perception gap in what the marketing is saying and the experience of this specific passenger here when they're bringing him to the other seat with the friendly smiles. And you see this with multiple brands. Like take Nespresso. My wife is a huge fan of Nespresso, and now and then I order coffee for her. And I'm from Belgium. Now, in Belgium, e-commerce is so-so in terms of quality. So I got super excited when I went to Nespresso's site and I saw this. This says delivery when it suits you best. Usually in Belgium, it's the other way around. It's delivery when it suits them best. So I got super excited. So I said, no problem to pay a premium here. Delivery when it suits me best. And then I went to the next page with full excitement, and these were the options that they gave me. They said, when do you want us to come? On Thursday between 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening, or shall we take Friday between 8 in the morning and 6 in the evening? And I have to pay €3.90 for this world-class unlevel scene of customer service. It looks cool when you try it. It basically sucks. And this is like the saddest part of my presentation, because I am a huge Disney fan. Disney is one of my favorite brands in the world, and even Disney screws up now and then. Like this happened in Disneyland Paris a couple of weeks ago. There was this young man who proposed to his future wife in front of the castle of Disneyland Paris. His friends were filming it. The crowd was going wild. And then this happens. A guy with a Mickey Mouse hat steals the ring away and tells them, you are not allowed to be here on this stage. So you see, everyone has the best intentions, but in reality, we have average to low execution. And this is my feeling, that many companies are what I call a diamond in the rough. There is potential, but you don't see the results. And this is one of the challenges in the world today. How well are we executing our ideas? Are the ideas leaving the PowerPoint presentation? My bet is that most of your companies today are a diamond in the rough. You have the slide that says that you're customer-centric, but the perception in the market may not be as good as the quality of the slide. And the challenge is, how can we become that shiny diamond? How can we change that? And this is one of the challenges that we have today. And I want to talk you through that. Now, today, if you listen to the media, if you talk with people, the world has cloudy skies today. And question is, what do you need to do when the world has cloudy skies? In my opinion, the answer is very simple. You need to bring back the blue skies. And, the doom scenarios in the media is not what your customer wants to hear from you. They want to have more positivity. I am convinced that we need more positivity in the world. I am convinced if you show that positivity, that it will have a positive impact on your business. And, last summer or this summer, I went to see Top Gun. Did someone went to see Top Gun here in the room? I thought it was, the best film in human history, probably. And the nostalgia, when Tom Cruise took his leather jacket out of the closet, when he gets back on his motorcycle. I mean, after 5 minutes in that movie, I was already like, this is the best movie ever. And if you then make the analysis of the movie, it's pure feel-good. It's pure feel-good. Even though they're bombing people that don't exist. There are no bad guys in the film. It's just feel-good, easy to understand, not the complexity of all these difficult Netflix shows. It's feel-good, and you're almost like cheering while you're sitting in the movie theater. And then you could say, do people actually like that? Yeah. It is the best evaluated film that we've seen in years. Plus, this is the most successful financially film that they had in the United States in the history of Hollywood. So this is what people want today. They want feel-good. They want positivity. They don't want to hear you complain. And that need for positivity is something that we lack in the industry today. Do you want to sell more products, or do you want to make positive change? That's basically the question that you need to ask yourself. Who knows who this is? Raise your hand if you know who this is. This is the interactive part of the presentation. Huh? So if you know who he is, you do like this, okay? Okay, no one knows it. Okay, no problem. He is the most popular YouTuber in the world. He is called Mr. Beast. If you have children that are younger than 18, ask them about Mr. Beast. They will know. And Mr. Beast has now today more than 100 million subscribers on YouTube. And his strategy is very simple. He makes shows, TV shows, where people can win a lot of money. He gives away $1 million now and then to his followers, and you have to spend them in 24 hours, and he makes a video out of it. When he had 100 million followers, he gave 100 people $1 million and filmed it. So you can say, how does this work? Well, because of the fact that he is creating a TV show with 100 million viewers, which is more than any TV show ever had in human history, he attracts so many viewers that he is the best paid YouTube star. And he gives like 80% of his revenues back to his audience. Just with his advertising on YouTube, he makes 120 million a year, so he can give away 100 million and still have a so-so year. Huh? So this is his philosophy. But people love him. I went to the States this summer with my 10 and 12-year-old son. If we walk around the streets, they comment on every brand, hotel, and fast food chain they see. And I said, what is your opinion based on? Mr. Beast. That's always the answer, Mr. Beast. It is crazy. He opened up a hamburger store last week. More than 20,000 people showed up in the first hour to try to get a burger and try to see him. And at the same time, he's using his money to do well for society. So his followers challenge him to plant 20 million trees. And together with his followers, he planted 20 million trees. They asked him to clean up the beaches, the ugly beaches. And he said, okay, we're going to use our money to clean up the beaches. And this community of followers just loves him for it. He shares his wealth. He uses it to make other people happy. He uses it to make the planet better. And because of that, he is now the most popular YouTube star in the world. And you have never heard of him. But that's okay. That's why you came to this session. But this is positivity with impact. Huh? And this is a new way of going to market. And you can say, yeah, but this is a YouTube star. How does it work? Well, just think about this. We see the evolution of work happening in front of our eyes. You know, in the past, we all worked with our hands. Today, we work with our brains. Tomorrow, if we, as a business, want to make a difference, we will have to do more business from the heart. Because this is something that machines cannot do, for instance. Beginning of this year, I had the pleasure to meet the founder of Every Table. It's a new fast food chain in the US, and their mission is beautiful. Their goal is to start restaurants in poor neighborhoods in the US. Because the problem with poor neighborhoods in the US is that you cannot get high quality food. You cannot get healthy food. So poor neighborhoods, they attract fast food chains like McDonald's and Subway, all these things, which is unhealthy. So people that don't have a lot of money eat unhealthier, and because of that, they get into this negative spiral. They want to solve this. They want to solve this. Their goal is to provide healthy food in poor neighborhoods, and their benchmark is the price of a Big Mac meal. So they look in the neighborhood, what is the price of a Big Mac meal? They provide a lunch that is cheaper, good food, and healthier. And on top of that, they create this whole philosophy, like the pay-it-forward philosophy. Like if you and me go there, we can afford that kind of food easily. So they invite us, if we buy a salad of $5, they invite us to pay for 2 salads. We pay $10, and then we get a Post-it. And that one Post-it is worth 1 salad, and then we put that Post-it on the glass outside, and then a homeless person can come by, take the Post-it, walk inside, and get our salad. And maybe the best part is the Every Table University. Like if you want to open a McDonald's, I don't know if you are planning to do so, but if you're planning to do so, the first requirement is to put 250,000 euros of cash on the table. Real money, not a loan, but your own money. So people who open a McDonald's are people who did well in life in the first part of their career. you can never do that if you are in a poor neighborhood in the US. So what they do is they look for qualitative people in those neighborhoods and invite them to follow the university. They provide them with the needs to get a cheap loan, and they can open up restaurants. So it's this whole philosophy of investing in a neighborhood and making sure that people will live well there. Every table. This is working from the heart. This is positivity with an impact. And I believe this is what we need more today. Stop complaining. Create blue skies for your customers, because that's what bringing value to the table for them. Now, the good news is this. If you ask ourselves, but how do we need to do this? What do people expect? What is the next phase of expectations? The good news is this, that it's pretty straightforward what your customers expect from you. They expect digital convenience. And I don't need to explain. We all know this. Because of that, they expect that positivity, that human part more and more. And more people expect you to do well for society. And it doesn't matter if you're doing business in Germany or in Belgium or in Brazil or in Singapore. This is more or less what people expect around the world. And of course, the weight can be a little bit more depending on who you are. But in general, it's these three items. And if you invest in those, that's your road to create that offer you can't refuse. Now, how do we get there? What do you need for the offer you can't refuse? Of course, you need great products. But the question is that enough? Do you win the game today with a good product? I don't think so. I think that the product is a minimum demand today. Of course, you need a good product, but who gets excited just with a good product? We need more than that. It's a minimum demand. And probably the same can be said for digital convenience. I mean, just look at the evolution of the past 2-3 years. Take pre-COVID versus post-COVID. In my opinion, COVID was the big digital jump forward. It's like we got catapulted into the future. McKinsey did the math. We jumped 7 years into the future. This is September 2029. Almost made a mistake. 2029. And as a consequence, every part of our life has a digital component. We all know that. So COVID was some sort of a digital time machine, which is cool. I get excited about that. I get excited by time machines. So I stepped out of that time machine and I looked around and I thought, oh, look at this beautiful digital world. And I have to be honest, I was super excited, but then the disappointment hit me. And it was almost exactly 1 year ago, on October 4th last year. What a bump in the road. I can see on your faces that you still remember what happened on October 4th last year. It was the day that the entire Facebook group went down for 10 hours or so. The day that you were bored, that you think, what do I need to do today? That was October 4th. And we got some shady explanation from Mark Zuckerberg, who didn't really know what was happening. And then 10 hours later or 12 hours later, they were back. And then what I like to do is read the apologies. I love the apologies. And of course, Mark Zuckerberg, he shared his apologies on Facebook, saying, guys, very sorry. But you know what I like even more than reading the apologies? Is reading the comments on the apologies. If you're ever bored on a rainy Sunday afternoon, read the comments on Mark Zuckerberg's post. That's a party on its own. And I was very lucky because the first reaction was already a major hit. There was this guy and he said, Mark, don't buy Pornhub. I feel you understand why. Huh? I see you understand it. So I'm a researcher. So I said, I have to do some research here. I have to figure out if he's making a joke or if he's real. So I dove into the user statistics of Pornhub. And this is what I found. Look, you can see the point where Facebook goes down, right? And then you see that the world was thinking, let's do something else today, huh? And then Facebook is back and people are like, okay, let's go back to Instagram. So imagine what would happen if Facebook and Pornhub go down at the same time. I mean, What would we do to get through those days? I don't know. So this guy was dead serious. He's like, Mark Zuckerberg, keep your hands away from Pornhub, that we at least have a fallback plan. So that was a little hiccup on the road. But next to that, the time machine was amazing. And it has a consequence for your customers, because today people really know what works and doesn't work. And digital convenience has become a commodity. We live in some sort of a zero tolerance for digital inconvenience kind of world. And the worst thing that can happen these days is that you have to use something that isn't good enough. Like, this is my favorite anti-advertising picture of the year. If it's not good enough, people will not use it. It's as simple as that. Zero tolerance for digital inconvenience. And having to use something that doesn't work can really, really upset us these days. Like something from the government, or from the school of your children, when there's no alternative. That can really upset us. That is why I would like to invite you to become friction hunters. All of you can become friction hunters. And a friction hunter is someone who is sensitive for small things where you create frustration or friction among your customers. And a friction hunter makes the analysis of that. And a friction hunter understands how annoying small frustrations can be. But a friction hunter also knows that a small effort is enough to remove that friction now and then. Can you become friction hunters? My favorite company that is a friction hunting expert, in my opinion, is Walmart, largest company in the world. They know that a lot of people like to buy online, but that they don't like to pick up stuff in the store, or at least they want to pick up stuff in the store, but they don't want to wait in line. So they created these huge pickup towers, and then you go to the store, you take your phone, you have your QR code, your barcode, you scan it, and then, bam, you got your stuff. So they removed the friction of waiting in line, right? But then they were thinking, this is not going far enough. Because people still need to park the car, they need to get out, they have to carry all the stuff. That's a friction. So why don't we change the parking lots into drive-thrus? And people just drive in, they don't even have to get out of the car. We open the trunk, we put the groceries in, and bam, there they go. So they remove the entire friction of the entire process by doing so. But you could think, yeah, but Stephen, what if you don't drive home passing by a Walmart? I mean, a detour is a friction, right? Yeah, that's right. That's why they invented in-fridge delivery. That means that you order online, they send someone to your house, they open the door with a digital lock, they film everything, and they put all your groceries nicely and neatly in the refrigerator. So they remove the entire friction of the entire process. But some people tell me, yeah, but Stephen, I don't like the idea of another human in my house. That's a friction for me. Well, if you don't like humans, no problem. We send the robots to do it for you. So you see, there is a solution for every friction. And by the way, I am a huge robotic fan. I love robots. These are my favorites. I am sure you have seen these videos. They're from Boston Dynamics. They are like cool and creepy at the same time. Huh? I like watching the videos, but if one would walk in through that door, I would run behind the stage instantly. Huh? Very scary. Now, a small tip, if you would use them in your warehouses or with your customers, just a small tip, treat the robot with respect or feel the pain. Huh? So a small in-between tip. Next to that, Walmart is a beautiful example of a friction hunter. And you know what the cool thing is about friction hunting? Everyone in the organization can be a friction hunter. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter where you are up in the hierarchy. Everyone can see small frustrations and remove them one by one. That is what we need. That's what friction hunters do. And it also invites you to look differently to the world. Like, assuming, or you didn't know Mr. Beast, so I assume most of you are not on TikTok. That's just a wild guess out here. But if you would be on TikTok, you would see that the interfaces are completely different. And that today, in our world of the grown-up 40-plus kind of people, that we still live in this old-fashioned world of very boring interfaces. I mean, we think that Google is cool, but this is extremely boring. They give you 1 billion hits. That's not how you like to look for stuff. Or when you have to buy a house, I mean, you get list after list after list. If you look for a hotel, you get list after list after list. We live in this listed digital world. Even Netflix, we think, oh, Netflix, cool company. But look at this interface. I mean, it has been the same for the last 10 years. Have you ever heard of the Netflix syndrome? Do you know what the Netflix syndrome is? Maybe you recognize it. I have it. I'm suffering from the Netflix syndrome. It means that if you're finished with a show and you're looking for a new one, on average, that takes up to 40 minutes before you find something that you like again. 40 minutes. I mean, that is a lifetime. Versus TikTok, swipe, chunk, 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 chunk. And the algorithm is so good that it knows perfectly what you want, and the search has changed in something that is fun and fast. So, that's also friction hunting. Looking at new things and being critical about how we have been doing things in the past. But now, this is what we have, right? On our way to the offer you can't refuse. Great product, great digital experience, fantastic, but this only leads to a good transactional relationship. This is, in my opinion, a minimum demand. We need to do more. We need to do more. So on top of the minimum demand, I like to play with two strategies. One is about partner in life, and I'll explain it in a second. The other one is about adding value to society, and if you bring them together, that's when you have the offer you can't refuse. Now, let me walk you through that. What do I mean with partner in life? Now, I have to warn you about the next few minutes in the presentation because it's going to sound strange. I'm going to use a very strange metaphor, so be mentally ready for that, okay? Okay, here we go. Imagine this. Tomorrow morning, you wake up and you look around and you suddenly realize that you're no longer in beautiful Germany, but you look around and you think, oh my God, I have changed into a rhino. You never know. You never know what will happen. And I want to prepare you for that moment. Now imagine that tomorrow morning you wake up as a rhino. The good news is this. Your first concern is the same as when you wake up as a human. You will be hungry and thirsty, but nothing to worry about. You can do that. But there is a major problem, and that is linked to your safety. Because nature made a mistake. Nature made the assumption that a rhino has no natural enemies. Because if a lion bumps into a rhino, the lion thinks, no. Where are the zebras, is what the lion thinks. So nature thought, oh, the rhino is safe. So because of that, it didn't get all the premium safety features. So a rhino doesn't have the best eyesight. A rhino doesn't have the best smelling capabilities. And unfortunately, this is really sad, because of that, a rhino is an easy victim for poachers. This is the moment when you say, oh. It's very, very sad. But there's good news. The rhino has a partner in life. These little birds, they're called the oxpeckers. The oxpecker on the back of the rhino. And the oxpecker doesn't just eat the parasites from the back of the rhino. The oxpecker is also an alarm system. Because the oxpecker has great eyesight, and it can spot humans from a far distance. And when the oxpecker sees a human, it makes a different sound. And the rhino recognizes the sound. And then the rhino knows, oh my God, there are humans coming, I have to run. That's the oxpecker on the back of the rhino. Can you be the oxpecker on the back of the rhino for your customers? It means this. It means that you're always around, but you are not intrusive, and you bring value at the exact right moment. Can you do that? This is what customers expect today, that you're always around, but you're not intrusive. You bring value at the exact right moment. Now, I see a few people taking pictures. That is very smart. Self-awareness is the beginning of all wisdom. And I don't want to underestimate you. I know that you guys are a premium audience. But I've been walking outside here in this convention hall, and the only thing I see is food and alcohol. So the chance that by the time that you get back home tonight, that you will remember all 4 of these is close to 0. We have to be brutally honest about that. And then you come home and your partner asks, how was it? You say, oh, it was really cool, and Stephen was there. What did Stephen talk about? And you say, oh, what did he talk about? And then you'll say, I remember, it was about a bird and a rhino. And your partner will say, I thought it was a business conference. Yeah, he had a message. What was the message? And then you will start to think. And then you will say, I remember now. I remember. Stephen told us that we need to be always around. That was it. That was it. Now, this would be extremely dangerous for the future of your company if you follow this strategy. I strongly disrecommend you to do so. Because if you only do this, then you will not be the oxpecker on the back of the rhino, but you will be the fly on the back of the cow. Because a fly on the back of the cow is always around, it's always intrusive, and it doesn't bring any value. We do not want to be the fly on the back of the cow. We want to be the oxpecker on the back of the rhino. That's what we want to be. And to get there, what we need is to understand that there's always a human behind the customer, and that every human has like a movie of their life. I mean, we all have a movie of our life in the back of our mind with our dreams and fears, our hopes, ambitions. And the better you understand those, the more value you can bring in the life of customers. Here, it's not about you. It's about how can we add value in the life of our customers. It's not about selling cars. It's about being a mobility partner. Look at what Toyota is doing in Japan, close to Mount Fuji. They are building a new city, Woven City, which is like an experimental prototype community of tomorrow, where they try to figure out how people will live in the future. They are actually building it. At the end of next year, about 3,000 people should be living there. But if you look at the city and what they're building, the most remarkable thing is that Toyota, the largest car manufacturer in the world, is building a city without cars. Because they believe in the future it will be about people and not about cars. And they want to be ready to be a partner in mobility rather than just a transactional car manufacturer. If you own a gym, it's not about owning a gym, it's about being a partner in a healthy lifestyle. If you rent out student apartments, it's about being a partner in the successful start of the career of students. Like take this company, it's called Upgrade Estate. They build student houses in all major cities in Belgium. And they really want to be that partner in life. So they go beyond renting out the square meters. They have a mental coach available to make sure that students are mentally ready for the challenge. They created an academy where students can follow all kinds of courses with interesting, relevant information that you don't learn on the student benches, but help you to have a successful start of your career. That's what it's about. It's not about us. It's not about our product. It's about the life of our customer. Can we create value there? Do we have the empathy to make a difference? And it's funny, I don't know if you saw this, the waitographer of Hilton. I love this. So all the waiters in some Hilton hotels got a professional photography class because they've seen that a lot of people that come in that have dinner or have fun in the bar, they want to have a picture with their friends. And the waitographer is trained to make sure that those pictures are Instagrammable. Because that's good for Hilton and that's fun for the customers. That's understanding what people need, right? I don't know if you guys did this as well, but I'm a soccer fan. I'm a fan of Club Brugge. And during the pandemic, I watched a lot of games on TV that were played in empty soccer stadiums. Maybe some of you have done that as well. I thought it was awful. I thought it was boring like hell. I felt sorry for the soccer players because they are used to a world of direct and real-time customer feedback. When they do something right, they get cheered at. When they do something wrong, they get booed at. Can you imagine how you would do your job differently if you have a little earpiece with direct real-time feedback from customers? Like if you're writing an email that is not super friendly, that you hear the boos in your ear. When you're super friendly, that you hear the cheering in your ear. How would you do your job differently? And I meet so many organizations that take decisions in empty soccer stadiums that just dehumanize their customers, whereas today we need that empathy. During Christmas, I had the pleasure of spending some time here in this wonderful hotel in Dubai. I was there for New Year's Eve and the World Expo in Atlantis, the Palm in Dubai. We had a great time until December 31st. That's me and my wife. We were in the big Ferris wheel there. And we had a big dinner planned. Robbie Williams was coming to perform. We were ready for a huge party. And then I got an email from Lufthansa. And usually that's the end of fun in your day. Then you think, what will it be now? I don't know if you have that experience I have. But at 4:15 p.m., Lufthansa said there's a change in the rules for COVID. Your child that is 11 years old needs a COVID test. Until the 30th, he didn't need a COVID test. At 4 p.m., they sent me this message. The next day, we have an early flight out. So you can feel the thunder clouds that were, gathering on top of my head. I was like, we are doomed. We will never find it. So what you do first, you call Lufthansa. Of course, there's like a wait of an hour and a half on a day like that, so no one helps. Till my wife says, you know what, call the hotel. Call the hotel, see what they can do. I called the hotel. They said, you're going to be in deep trouble because all hospitals, and people are traveling so much, there are lines everywhere. You will miss your dinner. And I said, I don't want to miss my dinner. And they said, you know what? We'll take care of it. Just come. When are you going to come back? Your dinner starts at 7. Why don't you make sure that you're back in the room at 6? Is that okay for you guys? I said, of course, of course. And then by 6:15, we had 2 doctors coming to our room doing the test. Half an hour later, we had the negative result, and we had a wonderful evening. They took care of things. And I was super excited because this sounds like an easy thing to do. I think in most Belgian hotels, they would say, you're fucked, man. We cannot do anything here. These are the days. We have to live with that. But they solved it for me. And I looked for the general manager of the hotel. And his name is Tom Roelens. By accident, he was also Belgian. He actually grew up very close to where I grew up. And I talked with him about it. And I was super, super impressed. Because they start their day, and in the hotel industry, you guys know this, starting your day is 7 out of 7. So they start every single day with the customer experience meeting. And then they discuss the normal procedures, but they also discuss all the new requests that come in from customers. And some of these requests are a good idea that they said, this is actually something that we need to install in our day-to-day processes for all guests. Let's do that, as from today. And sometimes they have strange requests like mine. And their philosophy is, we're going to figure out how to help every guest with every request. And this is what we do early in the morning, make sure that we're ready for that. And I was super, super impressed with that. They do this little process every single day. They have about 18,000 employees in that resort, of which half were hired in the last year, for obvious reasons. But by doing this, they create a culture of, we will take care of things. They have this, we will say yes culture to difficult questions as well. We have a team here, we will figure it out, but we need to make sure that our guests are being helped. Yeah, that's adding value in my life. I'm a huge fan of them because they saved my New Year's Eve. They didn't have to, but they did it. That's what the oxpecker on the back of the rhino is. They're always around. They were not intrusive, but they added value at the exact right moment. Then you are a partner in life. And that's how you make people super excited and how you build that emotional connectivity with your customers. And now we have the last one, adding value to society. I mean, it's very simple. Today, people expect you to become part of the solution. And if you're not part of the solution, you will soon be perceived as part of the problem. Switzerland will disappear in the world. Neutrality will disappear. Either you solve things or you make the problem larger. You will have to choose in which side you're going to be. And the question is, can we leverage our strengths? And there's so much untapped potential. Take Booking.com. We all know them. Every year they do a survey. This was one of the key results of last year's survey. 81% of the travelers are saying, Booking.com, we want to travel in a more sustainable way. If you are the market leader and the market is saying something, you're in a position to change that market. But then, in all honesty, when you go to Booking.com and you select a hotel, you have like a zillion filters, but no single filter about sustainability, whereas 81% of the guests want that. But they say, yeah, but we have all the information there. It's all there. So this is me scrolling on my computer for this specific hotel looking for the sustainability information. I thought, that's it? No. I have to keep on scrolling. And there's that little thingy on top. That's it. And then you click to the next page, and then you arrive on the most disappointing page of the entire internet. Because this hotel is seen as sustainable because, I don't know if you can see it, but all windows are double glazed. Option to reuse towels, extremely innovative, and they have a bicycle parking. I mean, this is untapped potential. This company has the potential to change an industry, but for some reason it's not happening. And sometimes when you talk with them, I often work with Booking.com, it's because they're afraid that they're not perfect yet and that they're going to be slammed in the face because they're not perfect. People don't expect perfection, they expect transparency. Just be honest about the journey, but guide them in a certain direction and use your strengths to do it. And I think as a marketing person, if you look at things from a customer point of view, it's always interesting to ask yourself, what is the trade-off for the customer? Like you and me, every day we have to choose between privacy and convenience, right? And every day we choose convenience over privacy. But we're not always happy with that. But that's a trade-off that we have to make. Or I see a very cheap t-shirt that I like, even though that I know that it's produced in a non-ethical way. I still want to have the cheap t-shirt, so I buy it, right? Or I like to travel, even though I know it's not good for the planet. I like to travel, so I do it, but that's a trade-off. What is the trade-off in an industry? The moment that you know your trade-off, you can actually start to reduce it and maybe eliminate it. Like look at this, fireworks. All of us, we enjoy fireworks on New Year's Eve or when it's our national holiday. We enjoy that. But animals are scared of it. Like dogs and horses can become really scared and aggressive because of that. Can we solve this trade-off? Yes, we can. We have these miniature drones now that we can send in the sky by the thousands of them, and they can create a wonderful light and music spectacle that is as nice as fireworks, but the animals are no longer suffering. We solve the trade-off. Or take this one again. Like, I'm not a vegetarian. I like to eat meat, even though that I know that it's bad for my personal health, and I know it's bad for the planet. I like to eat meat. Can we solve that trade-off? Yeah, we can. There are companies working on that. Take Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, probably some local players that are working on it. They want to mimic the meat experience. And as we all know, they're not there yet. They're trying to build that, and you feel how they're getting traction, how we see them in fast food, how we see them in the retail world. And the moment that they succeed in their mission, that is the moment that that trade-off is reduced and eliminated for the customer. That's basically what people expect. It's not just doing your thing with sustainability. It's using your strength to make a difference. It's understanding the needs in the market and acting upon that. That's what people expect from you. They don't want you to change the world. They expect you to change your own world. And if you can do that, you can have a fantastic impact. And there you go. Well, 4 layers that bring value to the modern customer. 4 layers that individually are important for most customers out there. But if you bring them together in one storyline, in one experience, that's the moment when you will have an offer you can't refuse. So this is my invitation to you. Ask yourself this: how well are we performing on each of these layers? Where are we doing a good job that we can double down on? And where do we need to catch up? And I would invite you to, dare to dream about what could happen. Let go of the day-to-day operational and the day-to-day shitty market circumstances, but dare to ask yourself, what could it be in 2025? What could it be in 2028? What would be the perfect customer outcome on each of these dimensions? And then you reverse it back and you think, okay, this is what we're going to start building, right? I think when you spend time on a beautiful conference like this one, it really invites you to think beyond the day-to-day. Think about the day after tomorrow. And dare to start with the best possible customer experience. You reverse engineer it back and you start building it to give your customers an offer they cannot refuse. And that's my invitation. That's my gift for you today. I hope this was of great value for you. I wish you a lot of luck and inspiration in the next coming years in creating the offer you can't refuse for customers. If you like my work, I'm always more than welcome to, invite you to join me on my social channels like Instagram, LinkedIn. I share a lot of content there, YouTube. You're all more than welcome. But for now, thank you so much for listening to my talk. Thank you. Thank you.
Steven van Bellegham. That's unbelievable. Great input. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I don't know, maybe there are some questions to Steven for some problems you have already or you need an inspiration to work on? No? So what are you doing with customers if they are not dissatisfied, but they just want to argue?
It's because it's their hobby.
Yeah, because they feel good when they have a problem.
You know, some people like to do that. Then I think you go back to basic customer experience communication and you listen to them and you make sure that they feel heard, and half of their satisfaction is already there.
All right. So let me make a little conclusion.
Okay.
Think positive. Good feelings are very important. Let's be friction hunters. Reibungsjäger. Yeah.
That sounds beautiful in German.
Yeah. Mobility partner. That's also very nice. And show empathy. And the final moment, the most important sentence for me was, work with love. Work with your heart, and you won't have a problem with work-life balance. You don't need a work-life balance if you love what you do. So thanks a lot for your inspiration.
Thank you very much.
Here. Stephen van Bellegham.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an inspiration.